I've frequently heard a number of objections that essentially boil down to the idea that a certain Christian idea, Christian philosophy, Christian theology is not in the Bible. And it usually boils down to the idea that, well, the particular concept, the word, is not in the New Testament or Old Testament, so it must have been a creation of later Christians, and that the original Christians must not have believed it. I'll give you an example. The concept of the Trinity. Frequently I'll hear from people, well, the Bible doesn't teach in the Trinity. The Trinity is the idea, that there are three persons, God the Father, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit, are all one God. And they're not three separate gods, but they're all one God. Christians call this the Trinity, but often I'll hear an objection that says, hey, the word Trinity is not even mentioned in the Bible. What are you talking about that there's a Trinity? Clearly this must be some later fabrication by some later Christians that are inserting this idea into Christianity. It doesn't come from the text itself. Recently, I had heard another objection along these lines that said, well, Jesus could not have been saying that he was the God of the Old Testament because, the God of the Old Testament is referred to as Yahweh. Yahweh is not even mentioned in the New Testament. Therefore, Jesus is not the God of the Old Testament. That idea must be some type of new idea that some modern day Christian or some later Christian has invented that's not part of the original teaching. Listen, there are a number of different objections that go essentially along the same line. It would be impossible for me, at least in one video, to cover all of them, and that's not my point here, but I wanted to give us some general guidelines on how we can address this. I think it's important for us to think that, or to recognize that the Bible does not teach any major theology, any major idea in a single verse, in a single word, or a single phrase. The Bible does not, the idea is not that the Bible is going to teach you that there's a Trinity in one passing mention, in one single verse, in one book of the Bible. Instead, it's going to teach, if a concept is important to God, he's not going to mention it just once in the Bible. He's not going to mention it offhand, in passing. He will tell you over and over and over. He will make it very clear what he thinks we should know. Basically, what is the truth of God? What is it that he wants from us? So the idea that God the Father is God is expressed in the Bible in many different ways. Same thing with Jesus. The idea that Jesus is God is not just mentioned in a single verse or in a single comment of Jesus, but Jesus shows that he believes he is the God of the Old Testament in a number of ways, including performing miracles, in the ways in which he says that he fulfills messianic prophecies of the Old Testament. The fact that he uses the Old Testament name, I am, to refer to himself. The fact that he says that he pre-exists the older prophets. There's a number of ways, right, that he's going to say that he is God. It's not going to be in a single word, a single phrase. And if a single word or a single phrase is not found in the Old Testament, the New Testament, it does not necessarily mean that the concept itself is not present. We'll use this Yahweh example, this objection. Hey, Yahweh is not even mentioned in the New Testament. Well, part of that might be that Yahweh is a Hebrew word, is a Hebrew way that they would refer to God, but the New Testament is Greek. So they use a different word to refer to God, but it does not mean that they're referring to something different. It's clear, if you look at the text of the New Testament, that the Christians who are writing the New Testament clearly believe that the God that they're worshiping is the Old Testament God. I don't think we could make the argument that, well, just because Hebrew is not in the Greek New Testament, a Hebrew word is not found in the Greek, that therefore they must have thought something radically different. That's the same idea with with this idea of the Trinity, that there's not going to be, just because a single word is missing, does not mean that the concept itself, the overall idea, the theology, is not present. A lot of these single words that we'll talk about, they'll say, well, the word blank, whatever, the word X does not exist in the Bible, therefore the Bible doesn't say anything about that issue. Well, I think there's a couple different ways that we could kind of approach this. Some words are used or even invented in order to try to summarize an idea of the Bible. Yet the Bible might not mention the word Trinity, but early Christians started using this word Trinity to refer to the ideas of the Bible. They had all these concepts. Hey, God the Father says he's God. Jesus says he's God. The Holy Spirit is God. How are we going to succinctly summarize this God that is three persons but one God? How are we going to summarize this so we can talk about this a little more easily? So we're going to use this word Trinity. The fact that the word Trinity is not in the Bible does not mean that the concepts that the word represents is not there. There is also potentially new words or even new ideas that maybe the Bible touches on, but does not explicitly mention. I remember often, actually, in numerous conversations with Mormons will tell me, hey, you know, we can't really trust Christianity because Christianity has no modern day prophet. And the Mormon belief would be, the belief of the Latter-day Saints movement would be that there needs to be a modern day prophet, and that this prophet would help them to navigate modern day issues. One of the issues they'll always mention to me is pornography. They'll say, hey, the Bible doesn't say anything about pornography. That's why we need a modern day prophet to speak from God so that we'll know how are we supposed to address the issue of pornography. But I think as Christians, we should understand, yes, the word pornography is not in the Bible, but the ideas of God, the commandments of God, and how we're supposed to respond to ideas of lust, of sexual practices, very clear in the Bible. The fact that the word pornography is not mentioned, it does not mean that the Christian is somehow has no idea how am I supposed to address this issue of pornography. I think we need to get our focus off of these single words, these single phrases. We need to take our minds away from getting so focused, so laser focused on a single word. Oh, that word is not present, that we miss the bigger picture. A lot of these ideas, these concepts are in the Bible, are touched on in the Old or New Testament. A lot of these things that there is clarity from God on. Whether the exact word that we want to use today is in the Bible or not makes essentially no difference.